This is the Untitled Car Show with your hosts for the evening, Ike.
Billy, it's your day! That's what you've been practicing for!
And Proc.
Hey, buddy, roll your window down so I can ask you about your dead friend.
We hope you thoroughly enjoy the show. Thanks for listening.
Yes. Ep to the episode 12.
Woo! We're
made
finally
it this far.
divisible by 6. What?
Yeah. We're almost counting up. 1, 2.
Yeah. The next,
And there's no funny.
well, then the next
yeah,
one we have of that is going to be episode 123. So
Ow, ow, ow.
maybe that's how.
That's going to be a long time from now and
Yeah.
probably not going to get that far.
We'll get that far. We have such a loyal and great viewer, listener base. So
Actually, we do.
Yes.
A lot of people have been listening lately.
Yes.
A lot of comments.
Mm-hmm.
Opposite Lock has been great to us lately.
yes, I would like to do a particular shout out to Mr. Breaking Bad on Opposite Lock, who commented on, "Is all you do on here is post comments about your podcast?" The answer to that is yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
other things we find to be. Actually, no, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But hey, we appreciate the comment. Thank you.
Yep.
And if you'd love to get on our show and bitch about our
Yes.
advertising scheme,
Yes.
then you feel free to do that.
Yes. If you would like to call in, we are accepting callers now. The best method is we did a little trial and error with the last episode, and it seems like Gmail is going to be the best way. So, Untitled Car Show, all one word, @gmail.com.
And email us on that. We'll get a hold of your contact info, give you a number to call,
Yep.
and then you can call in the show, and we'll get you on the air.
Yeah, we'll give you a date and time of when we're recording and let you know when we're going live.
Beautiful.
Woohoo!
It's amazing.
Yep. So, since we're talking about Opposite Lock, I'm reading through here and talking about comments that have been left. One of my particular favorite ones is I posted about early this morning, not to break the illusion, but we record 2 episodes at a time sometimes. So early this morning, I went to the court date, and
Yes.
someone left a comment. I posted, "Does anyone have any advice, like last-minute advice before I go?" So one of the gentlemen said, "Tell them," this is Chuck07 on Opposite Lock.
Chuck07, thanks for commenting.
"Yes, we love you. Please keep listening if
We
you
want
do
you."
listen." Yes. So deep inside. "Tell them that the picture doesn't show who's the driver, and it's on them to prove who is driving," which is not the case in Maryland, sadly. But
We are getting a phone call in right now.
Yes.
Let's pick it up and see who it is.
yes.
Call from
Reynold?
Hello.
press 1. To
Yep.
send a voicemail, press 2. Okay. Goodbye.
I don't know what just happened there. Can we call that guy back? So we're experiencing a little bit of technical difficulty here. But like I said, if you want to call in to the Untitled Car Show, Gmail is the best way. So we can get a hold of you that way. Twitter is a little bit like, it works, but
from-
it doesn't.
Reynold?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hello.
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 How you doing? You're on the Untitled Car Show. How you doing tonight?
Oh, good.
What's your name and where you from?
My name is Rio, but I'm usually on Opposite Lock at Satoshi. I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Oh, great to have you here. Beautiful Seattle. I wonder if you're getting as much rain as us here.
Yes. We actually got hail tonight in Maryland, so that's awesome. What's your
I wouldn't say it's raining right now, no.
That's beautiful. I
That's
wish
it.
I was in Seattle right now.
Me too. So, what's your name on Opposite Lock and Jalopnik, so everyone can get a hold of that?
It's Satoshi. I can't really explain the nickname that I got in my screen name because you would know.
All right then. So tonight we're kind of doing like a viewer like appreciation thing. So it's perfect that you called in. One of the favorite questions we like to ask is, where you're from, what's your biggest pet peeve about the drivers in your area?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's what's your biggest pet peeve of drivers in your area?
That's kind of a bit of a I have so many pet peeves, but my only pet peeve is people driving like they're maniacs.
Yeah, we'd actually
That's
kill
all
for
I'm
that
saying.
out here. So
Yeah, we have a lot of that out here in Maryland, D.C. area. What kind of car do you currently drive?
Well, it's not exactly a car. It's actually my motorcycle. It's a Honda 919. It's called the Hornet in Europe.
Okay.
And yeah, it's actually not a bad bike, except I just want to enjoy it if I didn't have so many idiots trying to turn when they're not supposed to at an intersection.
Yeah, that's definitely a hazard. Being a bike driver, worrying about everybody else, that seems to be the issue. Not seeing you in their blind spot and
Oh yeah.
things like that. Is that the only bike you've had, or have you ever had any other bikes before that?
I think I had some, but most of them, well, I wouldn't say most, all of them were scooters.
So you did the upgrade from what was your biggest CC on one of those scooters?
400.
What I'm having a hard time figuring the microphone today. So what was the largest engine you had in one of those scooters? Like what was the top speed?
The biggest that I've owned for a scooter is a 400cc single.
Yeah.
Worst engine ever.
A single cylinder is not a great thing there. So
Are you
No, it isn't.
are you originally from Seattle or from somewhere else?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm originally from Seattle.
I'm confused about this with the motorcycle out there in Seattle. You guys get a ton of rain. You don't find that to be a giant pain in the butt?
Well, if you don't have all the gear all the time, then yeah. I learned my lesson the hard way when I was riding home my riding jacket, which was not waterproof. And by the time I got home, it felt like my shoes were filled with nothing but Lake Superior. That was that bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
That's definitely a hazard for bikers out there.
Yeah. All right. So if you are driving down the road and you are coming up to an intersection and you see cars parked in the area around you, what is the car you don't want to see around you? Like Prius.
Anything higher than my bike is a van.
So
Or
like,
a compact SUV.
yeah.
What is a dream car that you have for the future that you would like to have? If you could pick one vehicle or a car that's like your dream car, it could be anything from a couple $1,000s to $1 million. What would be your ideal car?
Oh boy. Oh boy. That's actually, can I say two?
Yeah. Go for it.
My first one would be, and this is going to be embarrassing, it's a Mini Cooper.
I'd like the
Actually,
Mini
I do
Coopers.
too.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the show before, how cool they are in like the Italian Job and
Yeah.
movies
Yeah.
like that. But-
Anyways, and my second one is a Porsche 911. I think it was a 996.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, to me, they're all kind of like the same Volkswagen Beetle with like a bigger engine, but
Well, they are. I just
Yeah.
want the first water-cooled generation, not the air-cooled ones. I don't know why.
yeah, those old air-cooled ones were awful, and they used to call them the Widowmakers when they would knock people out. You got a penchant for like the small and the dangerous. I'm starting to notice here.
Yeah, motorcycle, Mini Cooper,
Yeah,
911.
yeah,
Keep it small, keep it fuel efficient, and keep it fast.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, how many of the episodes have you listened to?
This is actually my first one.
Oh, we appreciate you on the
Yes,
show.
I kind of figured that might be the case. How'd you find out that we were doing the episode?
I saw it in an opposite lock, so I had to take a leap at it. And yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to ask either one of us?
What is it?
Well, I'm sorry, my microphone isn't working real well right now. Is there anything you would like to ask either one of us?
Uh-oh. I don't have any questions in my mind right now.
All right.
Hey, we appreciate the call. What was your name again?
That's Rio, but my nickname on opposite lock is Satoshi.
Do you have anything you'd like to plug, like your Twitter, your account, or like any like websites you'd like to plug?
Not that I know of, no.
No.
Just the one on opposite lock and Twitter, those two.
Great.
I have no idea.
Well, we appreciate your call so much, and look for episode 12. It should be coming out later on this week.
Yeah.
And you'll be on it.
Mhm.
So we appreciate your
thank you.
call, and feel free to call us again.
Mm-hmm.
And we will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
That was great. Yeah,
Yeah.
love getting calls. Again, if you want to call in,
Yep.
email us 1st. We'll give you the contact info, and you can call in anytime during the show.
Yep.
What were we discussing before?
We were going through,
friend called in.
and I was talking about Chuck 07 providing us with some information about that.
Yeah,
but
let's continue with that.
I just enjoy from his little thing is he gave out a whole bunch of advice that you always hear from people, like get the camera information and all that. But my favorite thing at the end of it is he comments, it may be too late to do this on your court date, but does anyone else need some shady secondhand, potentially wrong legal advice? I love anyone who ends a disclaimer with, yeah, it's kind of shady and kind of fucked up, but go for it.
Right.
So, yes, we're big about, like, we're trying to get people involved with what's going on, just because the more you're all involved with this and the more we're involved with you, the better this thing grows and operates. So,
And I tell from just that caller, I learn more and more about people's preferences in vehicles, and maybe there's different cars that I can learn about more just from people's opinions on what they want and things they don't like.
yeah, I mean, Proc and me are not really big motorcycle guys. We do appreciate it, and like we just had a motorcycle enthusiast on, so
No, yeah, and I mean that's great.
we accept all wheels here: 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels.
Fifth wheel, which I usually am at parties.
Yeah, there you go. Mhm. I would like to give a shout out to on Opposite Lock, by the way. There's a user by the name of JKM7680. He is, I think he's like our first like official like real fan, I'm going to call out.
Thank
on
you.
this, because he's always the one like recommending and like replying to accounts when I post up my stupid stuff. So
Yeah, if you ever want to get on the show,
please call in. We'd be more than happy to have you. He did a great article about bro trucks, and I
bro trucks.
yes.
Bro.
Yes, which I commented on that he forgot about the truck nuts. So
Yes.
he got back and was like, how could I forget about the truck nuts? Yep. So I posted up on there about taking the Volvo V70 for a, racetrack. I got a couple people responding about how, it wasn't going to be great for the racetrack. Foster, the die-cast car guy, comments that a friend of mine had one of these. Not really good for racing, as those drive shafts are prone to failure, which I appreciate to learn before, I take it out racing.
Yeah, that
I'm
would be
going
good.
to take in your advice, but I'm not really going to heed your advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, again, $750, so I don't really
Yeah, if
don't.
you wrap it around a pole, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, drive shaft breaks, and it becomes a 3-wheel drive car. Fuck it.
Yeah.
It's still better than 2. I don't care if it's 1-wheel drive, as long as it drives. So, yeah.
That's definitely true.
So I had one guy comment, and I would like to just kind of like give the cliff notes of this. This is Kailand09. I'm just going to spell this Kailand09. I posted up on Opposite Lock about how we needed people to come in and bring in viewers with them.
Right.
To like try and spread the word. And apparently I had some typos on this, so the gentleman decided to call me out on that, and I appreciate it, because then I actually did go back through and proofread, but then
Your spelling skills
Yeah.
have
Proc can testify this, although there is a rather big typo no one else has pointed out to us that is somewhere related to our little car show thing.
yes. If you name it out, we
Yeah.
will send you. I don't know what we'll send you. We'll do a shout out to you.
We will do a shout out, and if we ever have merchandise, we'll send you a merchandise thing.
For free.
Yeah, sure, why not? If the thing we eventually might make that might not exist, although there are a few people who already know of it, and those people are disqualified.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
Yes, yes. Yes. Oh, okay. Let me go through. Why don't you come up with a little topic there? I'm going to go through some of these comments, and we can start,
One thing we've been dying to discuss and thinking about for weeks have been dealer experiences both good and bad.
Yes.
A lot of people have experiences, you know, you go to a dealership. Actually, a lot of people go on Sundays because they don't get harassed by the dealership people, like the salesman. You know, you're out there looking at a car. I'm just looking. And it's like, oh, let me tell you about this.
And what's
and actually, they usually are just speaking like that because they usually don't know anything about the car.
Yeah, that's the best part is when they go like when you challenge them on something.
Yeah.
I got a good like quick aside on that. I went in to get the wife's Fiesta oil change, and I'm walking through the showroom because I'm a lunatic and I enjoy walking through showrooms.
Because you know what, you feel appreciated walking through a showroom like that because everyone's like, "Hey, have you been helped yet? Have you been helped yet? Have you been helped yet?"
Well, I feel, you know what it is? I feel like this must be what like a hot girl feels like all the time. Like, just leave me alone.
Yeah,
I don't want to fuck you.
I feel like I'm wanted. Finally,
Yes.
someone wants me.
Yes.
And they're a bunch of midlife old men who.
Which is, yeah, it's pretty much the same. But I had a guy come up to me while doing the oil change, and I wanted to look at the Focus STs because they just came out. And I'm like, he goes, oh, is there anything I can help you with? I'm like, nah, I'm just kind of like looking around. He's like, okay, is there anything you want to see? You just let me know. Well, I was kind of curious if you had a Focus ST on the lot anywhere. He's like, nah, we don't have those on the lot. But I can get you one one today if you want. I'm like, buddy,
How?
I just wanted to look at one. I don't want to buy one. He's like, no. Like, what are you driving now? I'm like, I drive a Volvo C30 T5R design, which is the same chassis and, you know, suspension pretty much as your Focus ST, except it's got one extra cylinder.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. Like, yeah. Well. Okay. Well, bye. Like, what the? I don't know where they get their training from, but it's, you know what it reminds me of? You ever been down to like Haiti, Dominican Republic, like places like that? When you like walk through the village and like it's just like, oh, you buy.
Yeah. Or like a Caribbean cruise like destination.
Yes.
You get off the boat. Oh, buy my shit.
Yeah. Oh, it's best.
It's
Like,
the best. Yes, I make myself.
I
No,
paint
you
this out
didn't.
by hand.
No,
Like,
you did not make that.
The same guy down there has this like same exact thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you rip me off.
Yes.
that pretty much sums up a dealership right there.
Pretty much like
Or the other thing that I dislike, and I have a story about it, is when they try and like convince you to get something else.
Yeah.
When I was looking for my Corvette, actually, originally I was looking at Mustangs when I was looking for a sports car at 22 years old.
Yeah.
And the Corvette I ended up getting, but I went to this. I saw my Corvette online that I wanted, and I went to the dealership, and I was like, oh, cool, I really want this Corvette, this or that, and oh well, let's see if we can get you approved for it. And,
Yep.
We'll go through the process and stuff like that, and push came to shove, since it's a '93, most banks will not finance a car.
Yeah, that old.
Lower than, like below a 2003 or 2002 because it's not considered a newer car. And, the standards of.
Which is weird to me because like you're not going to lose money on a car that's old. Like if you don't have to do gap coverage on it. And if the car gets totaled, the insurance is going to pay you about 100%.
And it's a Corvette, so it holds its value. So I would have assumed that, all right, hey, they would kind of.
If anything, it's going to get slightly more valuable with time.
Right. So we go in there. I can't get finance for it because the bank won't finance it. And so the guy, I'd been looking at it. I'm like, I want this. If you guys can finance it, get my payment into the payment I want. This and that. Work with this. I have a trade in and stuff. And the guy, like, all right, well, let me talk to my sales manager. Let me do this.
Yeah.
And then I remember the sales manager came in and was like, all right, come in and sit down in my office, And he's like, well, we can't get you financed for this Corvette. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. He's like, but I think I might have a something else that you would want. I was like, oh, really? Because they had just explained that they can't get something, finance something below a 2003.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I'm like thinking in my mind, like, oh. He's like, we can get you the same payment that you would pay for the Corvette. I'm like, okay. I'm like thinking to myself, all right, cool. I was like, oh, dude. I was like, he's going to offer me like a newer Corvette.
Yeah,
It's at a Chevy dealership.
Yeah, that's the only other thing
It's
there
like,
that would be worth,
yeah, exactly. I came in there for a Corvette. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And he looks me dead in the face and is like, you know, I have a Chevy Cobalt out there that I think you'd really like. And we can get you the exact same payments. I stood up and I started just like walking out.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh, Herb, what's wrong? I was like, I came in for a Corvette. I was like, I don't want a Chevy Cobalt.
That is one of the most insulting things you could say. Like, hey, you like cars, right? Like, yeah. Like, here you go. Here's a smart car. It's the same thing as a Maserati.
Like, do you think I'm dumb? Like, you know, like
obviously he did.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, he just insulted your intelligence.
At the end of the day, I ended up like working with him. I was like, hey, what? I was like, what? If I came in here with cash tomorrow,
yeah,
what would you give me? And you know, he lowered the price by like $5,000 because he realized that he couldn't finance anyone with it. So he had to kind of lower the price and just get it off the lot.
Yeah.
I think that the Cobalt, he said, had been like kind of like sitting on the lot for like months.
Yeah.
So he was just like, oh, maybe I can pawn it off
Sucker
on this
him
guy.
into it, yeah.
Hey, get out of here.
Yeah.
I came here for a Corvette. So needless to say, I did go back with with a check for the money that he wanted.
Yeah.
And bought it flat out, which ended up working well.
Yeah.
Because I got a great deal on it.
Mhm.
But it's like, dude, like,
don't insult him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like going for a Mustang and they give you a I have a Ford Fiesta on the lot. You know?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like,
Yeah, it's still amazing.
0 to 60 in about 3 times the time, but it's about the same thing. So
Yeah.
Woo!
But don't worry, I got a Chevy Cobalt that I think would fit your needs.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck
My
you.
God. Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. Yeah,
Do you have any dealership experiences?
Yeah, I got a couple. So
I guess mine was a bad, but kind of turned good.
yeah. Well, I think in the first episode we touched on how I got kicked, or me and my father got kicked off of the Scion dealership. I told the story, I think, on the first episode.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Your dad was freaking out.
Yeah, like fuck yeah, yeah. So the next time I really wanted a dealership, I went to buy my first Dodge Challenger.
Okay.
So I pull up to the lot and I'm checking out. They had a used one and it was brand new used, but it was like $2,000 off, basically off the sticker price. Like, it's a decent, like, new down and then probably like $1,000 lower than it probably should have been. So I'm looking at this car. I'm going over it with this guy, and the guy's like, yeah, it's a good car. It's a manual transmission. It's the gunmetal. It's kind of a rare color for this year. Like this, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, let me go get the keys. We go for a drive. So I get down, like underneath the car, and I just grab a strut. And I'm not looking at anything else. But when the guy comes out, his look on his face was the face you get when holy shit, he's going to find out something's wrong with this car. Like something must have been just awfully, awfully wrong with this car. Because it started to make sense. It was like, it's a 2010 and it's still 2010 and his car's for sale and it's like $3,000 cheaper than it probably should be. It's like $2,000 off of because those cars when they were new, even when they were used, they didn't go down in value very far.
What made you think to like get under the car? Because
even no matter what used car I buy, like I always get underneath the car. I am the crazy person. Like with my Volvo, I got underneath the car and guy's like, it's like 6 inches up. He's like, I'm like, do you have a lift? He's like, I guess. It's like, I bought my Volvo like 5 minutes before the dealer closed. I made it put on a lift and jack it up so I could look underneath and look at everything. But the Challenger was high enough I could just grab a strut and kind of pull my head underneath it.
Right.
And as I was getting ready to do that, he's like, we have a new one I can get you for like the same-ish price. Like,
huh?
Okay.
What's wrong with this one?
Yeah. It's like, he's like, well, do you want a new one? Because we can get you in a new one. Like, not even like, do you want to take this for a ride? Just like, do you want a new one? I'm like, well, I want a new one if you can, get me one with a stick shift. And he's like, well, we'll see what we can do. We can see what we can do. So they ended up just keep like, I don't know, like.
Did you ever find out what was?
I never found out what was wrong with it, but every time I was like, well, I kind of want a manual, and you guys can't find a manual, so can I take that one out for a spin? They're like, no. What if we come down like another like $200 off of like the new price? I'm like,
200.
Like, well, they were coming down like $200 increments. They're like. So eventually I got the car. I think the sticker price on my first RT Challenger was like $32,500, and I think I got it for like $28,000, which was less than they wanted for the one sitting outside.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? What
was wrong with it?
I have no idea. If you're driving around a like gunmetal gray Challenger with like the hood defender stripe RTs, and you got it like 2010, and it's been having nothing but
You
issues.
might want to check the struts
Yeah, something underneath the car is fucked up.
that they didn't tell you.
Yeah, it was just like it was such a good experience, but at the same time, I was just like so uneasy. I'm like, so what's wrong with the car? And then I had the same problem when I went to go get the next Challenger because I wanted a manual, and it had been a year. I'm like, I'm enjoying the car, and I really want the manual and all this that, and the other. So one of our buddies, his brother-in-law owns his brother-in-law or his cousin, I don't remember, owns a dealership in the area. And I went to that Dodge dealership, and I'm like, I want a manual. So they started like talking and like this and the other, and they're calling up dealerships. And the closest manual to the DC area was in North Carolina.
Ugh.
And the next closest one was in California.
But don't worry, they'll ship it out to you for $5,000.
No one was going to ship.
500. Really?
They were like, yeah, we're not, because I was going to get it at like the friends and family price, and it was not going to be any sort of like no dealership was like, yeah, we'll swap you, your Dodge Ram for like the Challenger. It was like, nah, we're keeping this because we have the only manual on the East Coast. So go fuck yourself. We're like asking like $5,000 over sticker. I'm like, God fucking shit. So, and then it ended up being less in a monthly payment to get a new car because I got the discount from the buddy. So it was again a bad experience and a good experience. It was like, well, I get all the nice new stuff, but then the other problem with that is that should have been a sign because that was the Challenger that I ended up having all the issues with. And like,
did you check under that one?
No, because it was new.
Oh, well, that was probably your mistake.
Yeah. It actually when that car came in, it literally came off of the back of the truck, like with still all the tape and everything on it, like rolled backwards, and then they peeled all that shit off and handed me the keys. And went like, here you go.
And it was a terrible experience.
Yeah, it was in the shop like 10 minutes after I got it.
Oh,
like, no joke.
God.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
And speaking of that, Dodge is one of the places where they have the worst, like, when you go in for like an oil change or maintenance or anything.
Right.
They have the worst one of those.
Oh.
You ever been like the Ford dealership here?
I have not. I don't have a Ford.
Well, I'm
yes, but yeah.
I'm trying to. If you have been, they have a like iPad you can borrow. They have like a television with like satellite TV, free Wi-Fi.
They have like the little like lounge.
Yeah, they have a Keurig machine and like
for free coffee.
Free coffee, like bottles of water and everything. It's like
free free massage and manicure.
Yeah, and like if no matter how many people are there, they have like enough like iPads to hand out. Like, hey, here's an iPad. Here's an iPad. Here's an iPad. I'm like, well, this is freaking sweet.
This is amazing. It's for free. Oh,
yeah.
Great.
Not like to
I'll
keep,
take it home.
but yeah. But like the Volvo dealership, is kind of nice. It's got the Keurig, stuff there. It's got a nice TV. They don't give you an iPad, but they are like more than happy to be like, oh, you want a loaner car? Here's a loaner car. Get out of here. Like, go for it. Like,
yeah,
it's just an oil change. Like, yeah, it's gonna be like an hour. Take the loaner car and go somewhere. I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah. They're like, you want a loaner car? Here's a loaner car. All right, cool. Like, that's my favorite thing about. I may have bashed them in the past, but I do like Volvo of Annapolis. Just they're pretty nice. With
if you'd like to sponsor our show, we'll take back everything we've said on the air. But
we are more.
We've already recorded the episodes previously, so
yeah, whatever.
Suck it.
Yeah, listen, we might have fucked something up on my car, but I love because when I take my car there, I get a nice loaner and I get to test drive that.
That's
thing.
it.
So, but they're very nice. But then you go to Dodge and it's still like. The little like that
elevator
song,
music.
Yeah, that song is playing. No, it's like specifically like the little Spanish flea.
Oh, God.
And then they have like one TV that's still like the old like big boxy like cathode ray tube television. It's like half static and it's like on like whatever your political persuasion is. It's on the opposite of that. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's on that news channel. It's coming in like half static and then like. It's like school shooting. Like, what was that? Like, oh, we're talking about a rise in school shootings. Oh, okay. Like, I can't understand anything that's going on, and all you have,
and it just keeps switching back to like Mexican soccer.
Yeah, pretty much. Like nothing.
Go!
At least that would be entertaining. At least I could watch that. But the Dodge dealerships, they have like those stupid, like uncomfortable seats, and they got. Like the same 6 magazines that have been there since like the Reagan era.
Oh, and like the National Geographic magazines.
I would kill for National Geographic. It's like Mopar performance parts, and you're like, I'm in here because my car's been in a shop more times than I can count.
Right.
Slapping a performance part
you've
on
been
it.
there. Yeah, you've been there enough times to realize that they haven't changed the magazines.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I will 27 times in like a year, so yeah, I can catalog that they never got a new catalog. So
Oh God.
yeah, it was awful. But eventually it did get to a point where corporate was nice enough to be like, when this guy shows up, just give him fucking a loaner car from Enterprise and send him on his way. So
Because you were gonna flip out.
yeah, so it was just like, yeah.
Did you ever break down with that car, like on the side of the road?
No, I
somewhere?
never
Or
broke
was just
down.
Always like some sort of issue, like what the hell? The engine's lights on. This is lights on.
I did come close once. The engine shut down and started up at the same time while I was in DC, like down in like Eastern Market.
By itself, right?
Yeah, I just like went to turn it off and the engine started up and then it was trying to shut down at the same time. So it just like dieseled for like 5 minutes.
That's not good.
My thought was just like, just fucking die. Die.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was too nice. I pulled the fuse on the starter motor. So it's like, I should have just let it die.
Thinking about breakdowns, have you had any experience with breakdowns on the side of the road that maybe for like an
I've
extended
had-
period of time? Pretty much anytime you have to call AAA, it's like it's
Yeah.
gonna be. It turns from like, this is gonna be like maybe they say they'll be there an hour. It turns out to be an all day affair.
Yeah, my first and only like kind of crash when I was coming back from my girlfriend's house and I was like 17. Like AAA said, "Oh, we'll be there in like 15 minutes." All right, cool. 3.5 hours later, they
Yeah.
showed up, and I was like, "What the fuck happened to the other guy?" Oh, he broke down. AAA can break down. Yeah. Like what the fuck? Like
They're like they're not that. That's like an anomaly.
yes, I was like, "You are shit." Well, first of all, why didn't you call me? And second of all, the fuck? And then why did it take 3.5 hours to get to it?
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Now, I've had blowouts. I had an interesting blowout on 495. No, it wasn't 495. It was US 50 coming into DC. I blew out a tire, and I was going to switch over to my spare on my way to work. And, like, I was like, van pulls over, and out of this van, like, probably like 5 or 6, like very, very Mexican guys pop out. And be like, oh, hola. Like, I don't know what the Mexican word for help is, but they were like, do you need help? I was like, no, I kind of got this. And they just kind of like, were like, oh, no, we help. I'm like, oh, okay. And they just like brought out tools and like took off the tire, put a tire on, and like got in their van and just took off. I'm like, that is the weirdest, like, it's like Mexican superhero van. Just like, thank you. Like,
I remember like when I was in high school, I had the Dodge Neon.
yeah,
The infamous Dodge Neon with the flame on the front.
yes. And the spinners.
Oh, it's going over. Oh, it broke off. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
But I remember I was on my way to the high school, driving into school, and I was on that main strip, like going right towards the high school. Everyone I knew drove, and all of a sudden my car just shut down.
Yeah.
And I remember like pushing it off to the side of the road, and like a cop like was like coming the other way, and he like pulled behind me, like turned his lights on and stuff. And I was like, "What is wrong with this thing?" I called my dad. I was like, "Dad,
Yeah.
like my car broke down." He's like, "I'll be right there." So he came down or whatever. He's like, "I don't know what's wrong with it." He's like, "I can't figure it out. It just won't start."
Yeah.
He's like, "No power whatsoever." I was like, "What the hell?" So I remember like. I went to the cop and I was like, "Hey, my dad's gonna wait for AAA, but I have to go to school." I was like, "Can you drop me off at school?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. Just get in the back." I was like,
Oh, that's
okay.
awesome. So you arrive at
So
school.
he drove me to school. My dad waited with my car for AAA to come, and
Yeah.
then he rode back with it. And I remember like the high school had like all these different windows,
yeah.
and I remember like the cop car pulled up, and he was just too lazy to like come out and let me out. I was
Yeah.
like, "Can you like put me in handcuffs or something? Because that would be hilarious." And he's like, "No." He's like, so he rolled down the window. He's like, "Just reach out and open the door." So I reached out and opened the door, and I got out of the car, and like I remember like I could see like everyone looking out the window at me as I was like walking into the school.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like, "Oh my God, what happened? what happened, man? I saw you on the side of the road. I was like, it was broken down. I was like, thanks for stopping. Like, all my friends, like, we drove by, we honked, but, I was like, oh, thanks a lot. I was broken down. Thank you for stopping and, like, worrying about if I was okay. Oh, we didn't know if you got pulled over.
That's how you know they're true friends.
Yeah. And my dad got it back to the house. He's like, because he was a mechanic back in the day, and he was, like, looking at it like, I don't know what's wrong with it and stuff. And he was like, this could be like a big issue or something,
Yeah.
because it just stopped dead.
Yeah.
And I got back to the house. I was like, what's wrong? What was wrong with it? And he's like, well, it was this little wire coming from the battery to the alternator. It had like just fried somehow, like corroded, and like just like it was like one little strand of wire was all that I was starting it with for like, I guess, for like weeks or months.
That's awesome.
And so he finally changed it, and then the car like ran fine ever since. But I was like, what the hell? But so it was kind of funny getting dropped off at school by the cops.
Yeah. I remember when I was probably about 10, my dad had a 1993 Toyota Camry that, people always say, like, oh, Toyota, so reliable, so reliable, so reliable. Like, that's why you get a Toyota. It's fucking reliable. Yeah, okay. We had a 1993 Camry we kept for like 3 years because it broke down so much.
You just kept it?
Like, I remember the death knell in it is where we were living, like it was building up around us at that time. So they just put in, it's a new like, 3 ways going one way with like a 2-turn lane, and then 3 ways coming like the other way, 2 turn lanes, and then like crossovers and are like same thing. So I was like, oh, okay. So my dad's pulling up to the intersection. We're on our way home. It's a manual transmission, so he's got the car. And you can't let the car go into neutral for too long because then it just dies for some reason. So you have to like constantly be like, like second, first, second, first, second, first. Like, I'm like, what the? Like, even as a 10-year-old, I'm like, this isn't like how this car is supposed to work.
This isn't safe.
Yeah. So we're getting up to this stoplight.
10-year-old voice.
Yeah. Like, this isn't safe. That's probably even closer to accurate.
This isn't safe.
Hey,
Your
father, I don't think that's safe. So we're inching up.
Quiet in the back. Daddy's busy.
That's gonna be a T-shirt.
Trying to get the car started.
But they had just put in a red light camera here. So
this was back in Chicago?
This is back in Chicago.
Chicagoland.
So he can't inch it further because the red light camera is going to hit him. So he has to tape the car neutral and like shut it down. And then he goes to start it back up, and it won't start back up. Like, it just like nothing. I'm just like, what the hell? So he's like, God damn it. So he's like, and like, I'm not like the strongest person in my current form, but as a 10-year-old, definitely not like, hey, get out and push this fucking car material. So I remember I had to get out of the car, go over to the driver's seat and steer the car and like kind of help push, like 1 foot out the side, like kicking like a skateboard.
Like I'm driving.
But it didn't have power steering either, so it wasn't working very well either way.
Just fucking do it, son. Don't question me, just fucking do it.
It was up, like where this little intersection was. It was like uphill to a crest, and then it was downhill. And where there's a little shopping center, like maybe like 3 blocks away from this. So we had to like push it and like roll it and like get it into the shopping center.
So embarrassing.
Yes, it was awesome.
When does it get to the point with like a car when you just like nickel and dime it so much that you just like paid double for your car?
I think it's the point where you have your 10-year-old son drive your like 1993 Toyota Camry for no good reason.
You know what another thing that I've heard about that has happened to people is like their cruise control will get stuck. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, that's happened to me.
Really?
Yeah, my cruise control in the Saturn would just randomly engage. So like it would be, you'd click it on and then you'd set it, and then as soon as you hit the brakes, it would like turn off. But then you just kind of like sit there and like coast to a stop, and it would just engage and the car would just accelerate. Like, what the fuck?
I remember one of my friends told me like his dad had to like hit the e-brake. He was on the highway going 80, like it wouldn't shut off. It wouldn't go down from 80.
Yeah.
So he's like hitting on the brakes, doing this or that. Mm-hmm. He like hit the brakes, slammed the brakes, like got over the side of the road somehow. It was still driving, and he had to put the e-brake in, and it was still driving.
Ugh.
And he like got it to the point where he's like able to like just like kind of stop it.
Yeah.
But it was still like pushing forward. And he said that like his dad like opened the hood real quick and just like tried to take like the wire off the alternator and ended up just cutting it with like with wire cutter. I was
Wow.
like, oh my gosh.
That's awful. Like, God damn you, cruise control.
You'll be the death of me.
My car is trying to kill me.
Yeah, it's like revved up to like a high RPM, like just still trying to go, and you're slamming the brakes. You can't do it, so you hit the e-brake.
Yeah.
You try and put it in park. It's still trying to go. It's like, what the hell?
My God, that would be awful.
That sounds like a terrible experience.
Yeah.
It's been an actually productive night tonight.
Yeah.
Got a caller in. The last episode, we had a caller in.
Yeah.
People want to call in, they can.
Yep. UntitledCarShow@gmail.com is probably the best way. Find us on Opposite Lock, Untitled Car Show. We're probably posting something to Mr. Breaking Bad's discontent about our podcast, but
Yes.
you know,
We hope that you
listen,
listen and enjoy
listen,
and
enjoy,
be nice, be friendly.
spread the word.
Or don't, because it's actually funny when people aren't nice to us.
Yeah, we really just want honest feedback because that's going to be the best way for us to grow and evolve as people. You know, not only is this a car show, but it's a safe place. We're trying to help people grow and better themselves. Yeah.
Not really.
No, not really.
But yeah, we could try that. Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's an excuse to get together and drink. Let's just be honest.
That's it. Episode 12. We next episode is episode Lucky 13,
Ooh.
which will be posted next week.
Yes.
And we hope you will continue to listen to us.
Yep.
And we love you all so much.
I love you
Check us
all.
out on Twitter.
Untitled Car Show.
All the other
UntitledCarShow@gmail.com.
All the
We're on
other
Stitcher. We're on
places.
iTunes. We're on anything.
all the other
Podomatic.
places that you like.
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere. You can find a podcast. You can find us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly iTunes. Thank you to our international fans. Thank you to our domestic fans.
Yes.
And thank you for everyone else. We will see you next time.
Don't forget to rate on iTunes.
I'm Proc. And
I'm
my
Ike.
cohort, Ike.
Yay!
Have a great evening, everyone.
Woo!